In this special of Prime Sports with Mahlatsi, it's a very, very special one. We're going to talk football, but we want to delve into the behind the scenes of football. Hence, I've got three of Pitso Mosimane's trusted lieutenants, as I call them. On my immediate left is Brakebi. He's known as Brakebi, Kabelo Rangoaga. I've got Kyle Solomon and Musi. He corrected me. He said it's not Musi, it's Musi Matlaba. Guys, thank you very much for joining us on Prime Sports with Mahlatsi. I'll start with Brakebi. Can you just, in a sort of in a nutshell, tell us what do you actually do in football? What's your role?
Thank you, Mahlatsi. My role is that of a fitness conditioning coach.
Yeah.
My job is simply to make sure that the players are
Fit.
And ready for the coach to execute this plan.
Yeah. So you become an integral part of the system.
Somehow.
Without you, somehow the system won't function.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah. And you, Kyle, what sort of role do you perform behind the scenes?
For me, it's my main responsibility is looking at the opponents to make sure that we are prepared in a sense of knowing what the opponent's going to come with or what they could come with. It's knowing the opponent, individual players, the way they play, the tactical side of it, and just looking at every part of how they could approach the game so that we could prepare the coach and the team on what to expect in the next game. That's my main responsibility. Yeah.
So that's pretty much analysis, yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it as well.
We'll get to that. And Musi, you also you've been around for quite a while, and people normally just see you guys, but they really don't know what you guys do.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Mahlatsi. I think my role mainly is focused on our team. I'm pretty much doing the opposite of what Kyle does, in the sense that I focus mainly on our team. Coach has a certain philosophy of how he wants to play, and basically I have to kind of make sure that we are sticking to it and find out areas where we may be struggling and areas where we can improve. And also when we're looking for players, if the players we're looking for will fit into how coach wants to play. Yeah.
And I mean, continue with you. Where you are now, is this something that you've always wanted to do? Is something that maybe you studied to do, or how did you end up being where you are now?
Basically, it happened that I met coach, I think in 2010, just when I had been offered an internship at a company that was starting analysis in Johannesburg area. And he basically told me when I think I'm good enough, I should give him a call.
Yeah.
So from about 2010 to 2013, I was working for the company. It was called Amisco. And in that period, I was also the analyst for the national team. Did the AFCON with them, and I think after the AFCON of 2013, maybe 1 or 2 months after that, I contacted coach. In fact, one of the analysts at Sundowns, Gulam, contacted me and said they were looking to expand the department because coach's demands are he got a lot of demands. And so that's when I left Amisco and I joined Sundowns in September of 2013. Yeah.
Brakebi, coming back to you. Obviously, fitness is important. With my limited knowledge of how business work, players, when they are fitter, they avoid injuries and stuff. For you, how did you get into this?
I think I got into football by default.
Yeah.
My background is of karate.
I know. I heard you've got a black belt. Don't start kicking us down.
No. I was international. I was fighting overseas, and then I come from Rustenburg. So Platinum Stars happened to be looking for a fitness coach during the 2009 Confederations Cup. So somehow they contacted me. And asked me if I could prepare the team because they were off-season to play against England for a friendly match. And after about 1 week, they asked me if I would like the job full-time.
So they liked what you were doing?
Well, no one cramped against England, so I must have done a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm still staying with you. We're in a period now where teams are planning for pre-season now. I guess your job becomes very crucial because of the loading of players, the preparation of players, making sure that when the season starts, the players are in peak condition. A fitness trainer, somebody like you, becomes very important for a club at this stage where the coaches are preparing for the season, behind the scenes. Yeah, at pre-season.
Sure. I don't know how to put this easier without being a little bit arrogant. There's fitness trainers and there's fitness coaches. So those are two different things.
Yeah.
Fitness trainer is at Vision Active and make you look nice for Instagram. But the fitness coach, you need to understand football.
And you
first.
are a fitness coach.
I'm a fitness coach.
Yeah.
You need to understand football. You need to understand the coach's philosophy because that's the starting point. So if depends how the coach wants to play, you condition the players how the coach
According
is.
to the coach, yeah.
How could exactly.
Hence, not so long ago, you were doing coaching courses and stuff like that, because you have to have that mentality of a coach.
Yes, because us being a team, for example, before I could even prepare for a training session, I need to understand from the guys. We'll always find out, okay, how do they play this? They explain. Now you try to find something that might help the coach as an intro to what the coach is going to work on.
Yeah,
So it has to be tactical. So firstly, I hear from the guys here, this is how they play. We sometimes bounce ideas, like I'm thinking of doing something like this that will help the coach to be here. The coach then just come and hits the actual tactical emphasis.
And for you, Kyle, I mean, also at this stage of the season, you also become critical in terms of helping the coach, in terms of looking at how the squad is.
Yeah, so pre-season is a bit different because then it becomes more of how do we prepare the team itself, where my main responsibility is opponent. That is where I become effective and help Musi with looking at the team itself. I think when you have more than one set of eyes or one extra set of eyes on the team, it helps us prepare the team better. I think you also need to be able to adapt into certain situations. You can't just be a opposition analyst. You have to look at your own team also. And earlier on I said that it goes a bit deeper than that, because when you do opposition, you have to know what your team needs to do and how we want to play, so that we can do opposition based on how we want to play and our principles, and how do we use our principles effectively against the opponent. So in the pre-season, it's helping to improve those principles and make sure that they come out, so that when we do opposition analysis, we can say, remember we did this, so you need to do it in this game. Remember we did this, we must do it in this game. So that is where I kind of also improve on my space, because in the pre-season I get to see more of how we want to play and I learn more about it, and it helps me in preparation for when I need to do opposition analysis.
As you talk now, I'm thinking that obviously now, how much have you done since you guys' next move has been confirmed? Sort of trying to immediately look at what you guys will be up against for next season, because that's pretty much your job of analyzing the opposition. Yes. I know they are not playing, but I mean just the structures of teams and stuff like that.
So for right now, I think the main thing was looking at the team that we're going to, and while looking at that team, you get to see the opposition kind of also. The main focus was looking at our team and seeing where we can improve, what's good, what's not good, those kind of things. But you also get to see a bit of the opponent. Maybe not the finer details, but you get to see the intensity of the game. You get to see certain defensive structures, because what I picked up is some leagues have a lot of formations or systems that are the same. So a lot of teams will play the same way. So what is common in the way that they play? What will help us? That kind of thing. So for right now, it was just about looking at the team, where we're going to and how we can improve it, and what's good, what's not good about it, that kind of thing. Kind of just doing a SWOT analysis of the team.
What has been your initial reaction of the standard of the league where you guys are going now?
In my opinion, I think it's really good. As South Africans, we don't really get exposed to that side of football. So we started watching it now, and in my opinion, I think it's really good. I think we have a challenge ahead of us, and I think that we are more than equipped to take on that challenge. I think that's the important part, is our mentality is right, and that mentality needs to filter into the team. But yeah, it's a good league. It's these good players. The teams are good, and we know it's going to be a really competitive league for us to compete in. Yeah.
And Musi, international football is moving, in a rapid space. Especially with the stuff that you guys do. How far can we go, man? Because people keep on pushing the boundaries, pushing the players. Where do you see football going?
I think if I look at when we started, or 10 years ago when we came together, and specifically myself, KB, and coach, the roles were very specific, and the roles were very structured. So I was to do this as an analyst.
Yeah.
KB was to do this as a fitness coach, and coach would do this as the head coach, and the assistant coach would do this, and the goalkeeper coach would do that. And what you can see now, with us, it happened naturally while we were already in South Africa, that our roles became fluid. So all of us watched our game. All of us watched the opposition. So whether you were the goalkeeper coach, fitness coach, analyst, whatever, we all watched the opponents, we all watched our game. And we all had to come with details and notes. Because even the goalkeeper coach has to say, I think the goalkeeper should play this way because there are two strikers, or the one striker behaves this way. He'll press us like this. So the roles are now becoming more fluid. And very quickly, for myself, I can say I also went to transition into a bit of scouting, where my main concern started to become, I wasn't worried about what was happening this season. I was worried about who are the 2-3 players who can help us next season. Where are they? How can we find them? And that I would give to KB, so he can watch, because it's important for him to understand the players we're looking at. He can say, yeah, but the league they're playing in, physically it's not demanding, so we might have to get this guy as soon as possible so we can work on him a bit more. So the roles are becoming more fluid. If you look at the posts that are given outside, specifically in Europe, for example, it's very hard. There's a video analyst, there's a data analyst, there's a performance analysis, and there's a coach analyst. So within all that space of analysis, there's now different paths where I can say now I went from being a video analyst to being a performance analyst, and slowly I'm moving into the coach analyst role, because what the demands of where we go are different, and because what coach wants from us, he doesn't ask us as an analyst or as a fitness coach. He asks you as somebody who's supposed to understand football and know football. What do you think of this player? What do you think of this team? What do you think of how I want to play? Those are not questions that a fitness coach would answer. So all our roles are a bit fluid, and also with Mahir as where he is, he fitted in very well. And he just needed to find his space, and he found it, which complements us and how we work as well. So I think the system is now fluid. We're one unit. We're not departments, if I can put it like that. Yeah.
And obviously, people who may not understand, Mahir is part of the team. Mahir Davids is a brother to Fadu Davids, just to put it out there. I just want to check now also from you, what sort of feedback do you get from the players? Because, listening to you speak is a lot of information that you guys collect and give it to the players. Don't you find sometimes that maybe for some players, it can be too much information? Today, what sort of do you find different reactions from different players?
Yeah, 100%. It's like in school. In the class in school, some kids learn faster than other kids, and you have to help the ones who don't get it, or you have to teach them in a certain way. Some people see or learn better by seeing. Some players you can just talk to and they understand. Some players have to do it, and some players have to do all three. So we always focus on doing all three so that nobody's left behind. We'll do the video, we'll talk about the video, and we'll execute what we've seen on the video on the pitch. And then we add a fourth element, which is unpredictable. So we can watch, do all the things, and then the opponent we play plays completely different. So our players have to learn to problem solve by themselves on the pitch. And we have players where we have to work a bit more with. There's players sometimes we have to sit with myself or Kyle or Mahir or the goalkeeper coach even has to sit with he's all goalkeepers. Because maybe some players don't feel comfortable talking to coach. They feel, but they'll feel comfortable talking to me or to Kyle because maybe they're closer in age to us. And we discuss. Coach gives us that trust to say, yeah, talk to him. If he wants, whatever he has to do or whatever he doesn't understand, Musi will explain. He tells them in the meeting, go to Musi, go to Kyle, go to Kabelo, go to Mahir. You don't have to talk to me if you don't understand. Because some players are scared of talking in front of other players. So you'll come to me on the side or you'll send me a message. I don't understand what coach means by this and this and this, and we'll explain it and go through it. So we have a collective approach, but we also have an individual approach to the players.
KB, similar to you, obviously you would push your players to sort of reach certain levels that you require from them. Also from you, you can see now athletes, they do amazing things. The human body can really be stretched to a particular limit. Also from you, how much do you push your players to perform at the optimal level?
Yeah, like you say, the human body has unlimited potential. But we always try to push our players, I would say, 10% above the league's level. And within limits of saying we need to go the full distance. In all the clubs we've worked with, we always plan from the first game to the last game of that league. If it's in Africa, until the final of the Champions League. If it's in Asia, like where we were in Saudi, it's always like up to the last game of the league. Yeah. So you have to find a nice balance between pushing them too high and to last the whole distance. So sometimes I see a lot of teams push them too high too soon, and then you win all these early cups or early matches, but after the Christmas break, everybody's going down. But we do opposite. If you can remember, even from Sundowns, people used to think we winning the league too late. No, that was the plan, because we also is looking at the Champions League final. That's why we used to finish so strong.
Yeah. Now, I've always found something a little bit fascinating to say. It must be very difficult to find the right balance in terms of losing the players. And I guess maybe that's where the discussions comes with the team and also the coach. How do you, I guess maybe it's a little bit scientific, but how do you know to say, no, this is enough now, or let's go a little bit more?
Well, funny thing is, like Musi said earlier, we're so fluid that sometimes, you can be too consumed into your own world, and they say, oh, did you see the next game? Because we all have to think ahead. So did you see the next game? We only have 2 days in between. And you might have not have thought that much about it. You say, okay, maybe we need to adjust. There are times where we had to go to matches without training, just because we push them a little bit hard, or the games were that demanding. So you're like, okay, let's calm the situation down a little bit. We'll come back again. So it's completely. Anyone can always help. To say, hey, don't forget this. There are times where I might have wanted to push them, and then Kyle or Musi or coach will say, hey, I don't think these guys will get to 30 minutes. When you stop training in 10 minutes, say, okay, let's leave to see another day.
Have you come across difficult players? There are some players who are very, very lazy.
Of course.
How do you deal with that?
Fortunately, when you work with Coach Pitso, there's no room for such players. If
he always says the system will reject you.
The system will reject you, but before the system, he will sort you out. So it's almost impossible to have them in our team. There's no room for that. If I can put it nicely, I would talk to blind. I don't want to get there.
No, that's true. Now, I look at you guys. You are relatively young men. You work in a highly competitive environment. Long times away from home and stuff. Let me start with you, Musi. Sundowns. How was Sundowns, and how much did you learn from there?
It was a fantastic experience. I remember when I got there, in my mind, my only thing was winning the PSL. And quickly, coach made it clear that PSL is the start. The world is where we want to go. you know, and that would be PSL to Champions League to Club World Cup. And I think it's unfortunate that in the 9 years there, we only achieved the Champions League success once, which led us to Club World Cup once, you know. But we got to that point, and the fact that he saw that from the beginning, you know, already set the standard of how we need to work, you know, and it was very, very good to see and do something with your brothers, with your own people, with South Africans, you know, to achieve that, because we always used to joke sometimes to say, we might not be at the national team, but we'll make this our own national team, you know, and if you look at it in that term, we got to the World Cup with our own national team, you know, with people who are from the same beginnings as us, from Kokasi or Komachaying or from wherever, and we achieved that. And it's partly down, obviously, to the leadership of coach, but I think it's also to the trust he put in us and to the trust he put in the players. It was very difficult for you not to be in line with the direction and the vision of the team. If you weren't, you may have succeeded once or twice with us, but in the long run, you were never a part of it, you know. So the experience at Sundowns was, it took me basically, if I can say, from one level to the next level, which is to be someone who feels that he's part of the elite in Africa. Yeah.
And Musi, I'm going to deliberately stay with you maybe for 2-3 more questions, because you have indicated that you've got a pressing matter which you need to attend to. You will leave us. But now, going to Egypt, different culture, different food, different everything. Were you skeptical at the beginning to say, "Ooh, what am I getting myself into here?"
So funny enough, there was a time we played Champions League in Egypt. I think we played against Zamalek, actually. And myself and KB were taking a walk in New Cairo. And we actually said, yeah, we think we're going to stay here.
Yeah.
You know? And when the coach called and he told me about it going to Egypt, like, I just said, yeah. I said immediately, yes. I didn't think about it. And that was like a week after the bubble, you know? So we'd literally been home for a couple of days, and I was like, yes, I'll go. But once we got to Egypt, I don't know, we'd been there so many times, it felt like home. You know? We knew where we are when we were in Egypt. It's not like we got there and our eyes were wide open.
First on the corner.
Yeah. But once you're in the culture and you're with the people, you understand. Like in Egypt, the natural volume is higher. So we think people are shouting at each other. No, they're not shouting at each other. That's how they talk. You know, we think people are fighting. They're not fighting. It's just the way it is. And the one thing I learned culturally very quickly in Egypt is you have a disagreement now, and in 2 minutes, we've moved on. So if you hold that disagreement or that anger or whatever, you're by yourself. The person you were arguing with has long moved on. You know, which is what we learned with our players. Very physical players in Egypt. They literally leave everything on the pitch. We could say, I could say that in terms of 1v1s and passing and moving, not as good as South Africans. But in terms of getting first to the ball, winning any second ball, winning any loose ball, putting your body literally in harm's way and dying for the cause, that was what we saw at Al Ahly. You know, there's times where we were not good on the pitch, the game was not going our way. But simply because of the players' will and their belief that we have to win, there's no other way. We won matches, you know. The players weren't very open to the way we do things at the beginning, because usually in that time it was just show up to the game and play. With us, before we play, we have sessions on the team we're going to play. We have sessions on us. After we play, we have sessions on us again. You know, so the players are like, yeah, but this feels like school. You know, it is school.
It is,
It's footballing school. You know, and even some of the players in South Africa have gone maybe to have careers outside of or in after football as TV analysts or commentators or whatever. And they literally say to me, no, I just repeat what you guys used to say. You know, that's it. You know, so football in Egypt was, the way I put it is, it's the belief and religion. Obviously, it's a Muslim-dominated country, but just immediately under that is football. You've seen it in some of the crowd attendances. You've seen it in the way the fans support the game. You see it on social media. I mean, when I was here at Sundowns, I think I had, I'll just give an example of my Twitter. I think I had 1,000 people following me or whatever. The day we got announced in Egypt, it went up to like 25,000, you know. and they DM you.
Yeah, it's
why
crazy.
this player's not playing, why that player's playing. But it's just their passion. We still have to remain professional in what we do. But the players in Egypt made it so easy to work with. We thought things that would take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to implement. Literally in the first game, I think it was 3 days, 4 days, they were doing it. And we were like, this is another level.
And the constant pressure, those guys, I could see that sometimes, probably used to get to Coach Pitso because he's the face and the focus on him. But the pressure, how do you...
Yeah, so again, it's a cultural thing. A lot of times, maybe people think or thought myself and KB were not as emotionally invested as everybody else because they wear the stress on their face. And we're very calm people. And we believe in what we do. If we prepare well, we don't really worry that much, And sometimes that's also to help ground coach. If coach is feeling some pressure or some stress, and we come with stress or whatever, it might affect the way the team may function. Sometimes us is just to say, coach, don't forget what you said in the pre-match meeting. This topic, we need to cover at halftime. Possibly these changes if players or if the game is going a certain way. So it's our job to remain calm, I speak to Kabelo pretty much the whole 90 minutes. I sit at the top and watch the game. And sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, don't emotions, relax. What's happening, and see the game like that. But I think coach is also very good at managing himself, at managing us as well. Sometimes I'm not saying we don't panic, sometimes we panic. Coach, did you see this? Hey, relax, don't worry. Coach, you said you do this. Relax. Things like that. So I think we work very well together, and we keep each other in sync and balanced.
Musi, lastly for you, before I come back to the guys, because like I said, you have to go. Coach Pitso can be hectic.
Yeah.
I've known the man for a good 20 years now.
Yeah.
How is it working with Coach Pitso?
So to be honest, coach is not hectic. Coach just wants you to do what you said you're going to do. You just have to do what you said you're going to do. That's it.
Deliver.
That's it. He's not asking you to do... If you said you're going to do this, do that. And if you do it once, that means you can do it again, which is what we ask from the players as well. I don't believe he demands more than what you're capable of. You show him very quickly what you're capable of, and you can't drop that standard. So... the example I would use is when I used to watch a lot of leagues outside South Africa, and I found 1 or 2 players that happened to play for Sundowns or happened to join us, And he's like, yeah, so you can't stop doing that. If you do it once, you have to continue doing it. And I continuously do it. And it doesn't mean some of the players that I bring, he agrees with. But there's been players we've signed that he said, as a coach, but he says, no, I trust you. If he's the one, he's the one. And literally we've signed a player maybe just off of my word. But he knows that I had to watch, and I've been following this guy for 5
Because
months.
he trusts your judgment.
100%.
Yeah.
So if you do something and you say you're going to do something, do it. That's the only demand we have. Don't give less than what you're capable of.
Musi, thank you very much. You guys are leaving in a few days' time, so you've got some stuff to do before you guys leave. And thank you very much. I'm going to stay with Brakebi and Kyle to continue the discussion. But thank you very much and good luck when you guys goes that side.
Thank you.
Hopefully, Coach Pitso calls the project.
It's too many projects.
It's too many projects. Yeah, maybe that project will also be a success. Yeah. But thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Okay, guys, just the 3 of us now. See, Musi damned us, but he's got some important things to do before you guys leave. Let me come to you, KB. Sundowns. Or maybe let's start with Platinum Stars, because that's where you started.
Yeah.
How did you get into Platinum Stars?
They were looking for a fitness coach, I think. And I don't know, somehow someone recommended me. Like I said, it was before the Confederation 2009. And then, they told me, I think they need to prepare a team. In 2 weeks' time, they have a friendly against England national team. So, I went there. and the game went well. No cramps, nothing. And the coach at the time was very happy with me, Coach Steve Kompela.
Yeah.
And he recommended to the club that they sign me, and they gave me a contract there.
And how did you find the setup there?
The Platinum Stars.
They were at Marang, and you know, it's quite a good system.
One of the
there.
most professional teams I've ever worked with. Yeah.
And then Sundowns? Yes, you took it to another level.
Yeah, Sundowns was a good experience. Remember, I went to Sundowns a winner already. I mean, Platinum Stars.
We won trophies there.
Yeah, we won the MTN 8, we won the Telkom Cup, we came second in the league, lost by 1 point to Chiefs. So to get to Sundowns was not a big thing for me. It was a natural progression for me.
But did you feel that maybe it was a little bit of a step up?
Yes, because you have now different players. You have current national team players, and you have international players. And of course, most of all, you have the coach there. So it was, on a personal level, it was more development for me now. Yeah.
And you, Kyle, you come from a analysis or analytical background.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, having done that and tied that with football, how does it work?
So as Musi mentioned earlier on, I started working for Musco, the analysis company, in about 2008. So I was the production manager for about 10 years, where it was my job to deliver the data to all the clients globally. Whichever league we covered within South Africa, I would deliver that. We did the 2010 World Cup here, delivered that to FIFA. And then I called Musi actually randomly one day, and I said to him, listen, I've reached glass ceiling at this company. I can't grow anymore. If you hear anything, just let me know. And he asked me one question. He said, are you able to move to Joburg? I said, yes. Somehow Musi and the analyst at Pirates at the time, Rayan Jacobs, they had a conversation, and Rayan mentioned to him, no, they're looking for someone to come over to Pirates. And he says, no, Carl wants to move. Within 2-3 weeks, I signed a contract with Pirates, and I came over to Pirates. And I joined the first team. We also helped the MDC side and the SAB sides when I first came. And I worked with Coach Micho first, and then Coach Ulani as well. And, you know, Pirates it's a club that demands excellence, and it prepares you in a way that you know you have to deliver quality work all the time. It's an environment that's demanding, but demanding with reason, right? And you know, for me, I don't think I would be where I am if Pirates didn't give me that opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing that we need to realize is that, you know, things happen for the way it should happen, and it's part of my journey, and it shaped me into the person and the profession that I am now. Professional I am right now is to always work hard and stay true to the cause of what you want to achieve as a team. So that's how I got into actual being on a analysis side of a coaching staff. I was always involved in analysis from the data side and the Musco side. I think my delay in getting into football or the club side is I was based in Cape Town and not Johannesburg. I was fortunate enough to work a bit with Ajax Cape Town with the youth system. So I got some exposure there, but you know, it doesn't compare to first team football at all. But yeah, that's basically my journey in a nutshell.
And obviously, I mean, things were different when you start compared to what they are now. Do you think generally DStv Premiership teams are taking advantage of the data that is out there to make the teams better?
Yes and no. Yes, because, you know, when we first came into the market as a Musco, data was something that was new. It was fresh, it was different. So we kind of just dived into it and we looked at it. We used it to scout players, to look at players, to look at teams. But, you know, and this is no disrespect to any data providing companies, but now when I look back at it, it's very generic in a sense of you're looking at the holistic point of football. But when as an analyst now, we're looking at what the coach wants and how the team wants to play, how the club wants to be, how the club wants to play. And you have to find data points to motivate that, which these big companies, they don't give you that. So at Pirates, we had to develop our own data points and our own KPIs to measure the team's performance. But, as time went on, now recently I started to see, or my opinion on it is that data should never be your final answer. It should support your answer. So you should look at the video and see what you see with the eye, and then look at data, and maybe data can point where to look at the footage, but it doesn't give you the answer. You can use the data to support what you've seen. That is how I see data moving now, where it's more supportive action. But if you can find a way to use data points for your team specifically, then do that. Then it's perfect. But also remember, you can do it, for example, for Man United, you can do your own KPIs for Man United, but then how do you compare it and what do you compare it to? So now you need the league on your data points. So you need to look at every team on the way you want to, so you can do a proper comparison of your team against, or your midfielder against Tottenham's midfielder or Man City's midfielder. But remember, if you're generating your own data points, you need to do the whole league to actually do a proper comparison.
Brakebi, when you were at Platinum Stars, one of the guys that you helped a lot, I'm told, is Spencer Mhlongo.
Yeah.
Someone that you know very well. There was a stage where he got a terrible injury, and he was pretty much ruled or written off.
Yeah.
How did you get him right?
Well, with Benson, it was very easy because he's a very, very dedicated somebody. He pushes himself beyond human limits. So it was easy. With Benson, remember, he was a little bit oldish. Yeah. But funny enough, if you say they must do something, he'd be the one leading from the front. So it was just easy with him. It was just easy. So with the load management, I think that's where we got it right. Because I remember when he was signed, the GM at the time said, look, if we can just get the guy to give us half the matches per season. He ended up playing, I think, 3 years straight, all the games. So it was some sort of, I would say, a miracle, but to him it's normal. He said to him, no, this was just perfect for me.
We'll do this thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, you in the line of your job, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, you've had someone like Maboe, terrible injury. I can't think of the other guys. You maybe Kabelo Morena. Individually, let's start with Maboe. How complicated was that situation?
Well, I think that one is best left for the medical team. Okay. I don't know what happened, but when we were still there, a lot of things could have attributed to that. Remember, he came from Marisbeck, where he was playing almost half the number of games where Sundowns was playing and the national team. So it could have been overload of games. The body had to adjust to the new load now. So we'll never know.
And Morena?
Sometimes in football, injuries are just an unfortunate.
Because it was an injury.
Yeah, it was just an injury.
Avoided it. Yeah. But rehabilitation was important.
Yes. Well, I always say, if a player has done a good rehabilitation program, he needs to be fitter and better than all the other players who've been playing. So with Kabelo, that guy is a machine, man. He's a machine. Yeah.
And also, how much importance it is upstairs when a player has got a serious injury, and now they've got to psych themselves up. We've got to heal, rehabilitate, and start doing the same things that got you injured in the first place. The mental aspect.
It's very, very important because remember, they're already not feeling good about themselves. You're losing money, you're losing match bonuses, so they need to be motivated. And what we can help with from our side to motivate is to make sure the program is it's enjoyable. I mean, you can imagine doing something over and over, you get bored. And then you won't even see yourself improving. So our players also need to take it a little bit more serious. You know, sometimes, yes, you're on a rehab program, you can't be going and drinking out of control. It prolongs the injury.
And also not eating well, because that's also very important.
Sleep.
And sleeping.
Eat and sleep.
Yeah. Kyle, with you, I asked this question to Musi earlier on, who has left us. How do you find the balance of not too much information to the players and also not too less, just the right kind of information, because you need to feed the players information, especially with the opposition, for them to individually prepare for matches?
You know, it's basically what Musi also said. It's how we have to manage it. So, for example, if I'm doing a opposition video, the duration of the video needs to be shorter, because majority of the players they can't concentrate for longer than 20 to 30 minutes at one sitting, just sitting down looking at the screen. I think the important part is that when you're presenting, you have to point out the important things. You have to say, this is urgent, you need to take note of this, this is what you need to understand. But it's on every clip, you can't have 5, 8, 10 points. Make it 2 or 3, the next clip you have a different 2 or 3. So then it stays in their mind for longer. Then you also, when you're working with the players, you get to understand each one differently. So you start to understand that maybe with KB I need to go off and say, hey, remember I said this, this and this. This is what you need to remember. So it's different for a lot of players, and you learn that the more you work with the players. Some will forget, some won't. The ones that forget, you go to them, you remind them. Maybe you have to show them a video again and say, remember this. Or the night before the game, you just send them clips and you say, watch this on the striker, watch this on the winger, watch this on, so that it stays there with him before the game. And then you see when you do that, players automatically start relying on it, and then they start asking you, hey, don't forget to send me the clips of the striker, because now in their minds they've worked out when is the best time to be reminded of these things. But to manage the amount that you give, it's, for me personally, what my job focus is time. When you make your presentations long, the players are going to switch off. So you need to make it as quick as possible, but with the most information as possible that the players can absorb. And I think that is finding the balance. I will say this though, that, you know, when I worked at Pirates, the players were able to stay in a video session for longer, because they were able to take in more and they understand the game more. And when you work with a team that has just started with video analysis, that doesn't really know it, you can't take that much time. So you have to cut it really short and say, hey, they're only going to be on for 20 minutes. So it depends on who you're working with and how you work with them and how well you understand them. You need to understand the players and how they take in the knowledge. That's important also for our jobs. Yeah.
And maybe a generic video analysis package for a player. What are the sort of key things you focus on when you're trying to help a player? Let's say a defender.
Oh, so for individual player, for a defender, you look at the opponents, the striker, the attackers, the movements that they do off the ball. For me is important. I try to show them that. The positioning in the box is important, because a lot of attackers they good at going one way, and then changing direction. So you need to know that the striker can do that the attacker can do that. If it's a winger, you need to know this winger will come in from wide, come into the box, so I need to pick him up. So, you know, the movement is more important. We also need to trust the fact that the player has the ability to do the 1v1 actions, to defend, he has the ability to do what he's required to do. So for me, it's mainly showing the movement of the attackers for a defender. For a midfielder, it's what foot he uses to turn with, what's his body position like when he receives the ball, what foot does he favor, which passes does he favor the one that goes straight through to the striker, is it a diagonal, is it, you know, there's a lot of factors to a midfielder. So you have to look at what's important for that specific game and for the player that they will be up against. You have to show what they're very good at and what they're not so good at. But that's again our job to define which parts of the game to show, because you can't show 20 different things of one player. These are the one or two things they do really well. These are the one or the two things that they don't do well. So you need to look at both.
Rakebi, coming back to you, individually, Egypt, was it a culture shock?
No. Egypt was not the culture shock. It was natural because we've been going there for so many times with Sundowns. It was just almost normal. Yeah. Except the only thing that was a shock was the first few training sessions to see how hard the guys go in.
Yeah.
It was just a shock, but you get to understand that it's normal to them.
Yeah. So you find that they go hard, the guys.
They go hard.
Yeah.
They go hard. Egyptian players are hard, but South African players are stronger. I don't know if you'll understand that.
Yeah. And then when you guys arrived there, did the players receive you guys well, or maybe you find that they were not sure, or maybe they didn't trust you guys, or
surprisingly they took to us. The respect that you got there, it was almost surprising. You expect a little bit of resistance, but when you got there, it was just so professional.
And managing the big egos?
The big egos, once you work with Coach Pitso, you learn to grow a bit of an ego as well.
Yeah.
So it helped that going there, just before the Champions League semi-finals, you've won the Champions League. So it's not like you're in a new environment, So you know what you're talking about. So that almost gives you the right to be arrogant.
And that's what you need sometimes, because
of course, definitely.
Now there's one thing that I've always found interesting. The North Africans can be aggressive. They like to be in the face of the coach. They're intimidating, they delay, they do all these sorts of things. They're very aggressive. Did you find that maybe this is something that they work on to do? When you were at Al-Ahly, did you guys plan on this to say, okay, we're going to Pretoria, it's going to be tough, the 3 o'clock is hot. When the guys, maybe things get tough, go to the ground. Do they plan around those kinds of things? Maybe you can.
For me, it's not part of our preparation. We go to win the game. We go to perform, and we go to do what we want to do. I can't say that other teams don't prepare for things like that or don't do it, but we never said, guys, kill the time, kill the clock, do this. We came to play football and we came to win. Those other things, I really can't answer and say, no, this is just how they are or whatever. But for us, we never spoke about it, never ever. It was about the game and the football. That's the only thing that mattered to us. Yeah.
And we're going to start wrapping up now. There's a man behind the camera here. He's telling me that the time is finished. But I think maybe just to the both of you, how is it working with Coach Pitso?
Maybe you can go first.
It's so easy to work with him. Sometimes you wish people can know the real him, not the guy in front of the camera.
The man who's screaming there.
No. He's a complete opposite of that guy.
Yeah.
But he's very demanding. If you want to get along with him, for example, for me, just work a month in advance. Whatever he needs it now. So just make sure you're always ready. You'll have a fantastic time with him.
Okay.
For me, I obviously came from Pirates, and what we see of Coach Pitso is the coach, the one in the media, the press conferences, and you think it's hard, But then you start working with him, and it's completely the opposite. It's someone that is understanding that if you're honest, like for me, KB always says, you have to be honest. That's the thing with Coach is you go to him and you say, Coach, this, and it's about trust. If you can trust each other, then you will go forward. And with Coach, I really enjoy it. I really, really do enjoy it. I learn so much, and he gives you that space to express yourself. He gives you the space to ask when you don't understand. That's how you learn. That's how you grow as a person. So completely two different people of what I initially thought, and then I got to Egypt. I was a bit intimidated. I was like, I didn't know what to expect, and I met someone completely different to what I thought I knew. if that makes sense. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I love it.
And you, Kyle, last question for you. How was Saudi Arabia? And also, do you guys sometimes miss home? You know, you spend a lot of time away from home, isn't it?
Yeah, we do miss home. It's at the end of the day, as much as it's nice and we're enjoying it, it's not home. It's not being able to get into your car and drive to the shop and buy a loaf of bread. You know, we're inside all the time. We're going to work. You're back in your apartment. Okay, you go to the mall, but it's not the same. It's not home. But Saudi was really good. I had fun. It was a good country to live in. It was very calm, very relaxed. We were able to go to the mall. You felt more at home. So Saudi was good for me. Really, it was good. Yeah.
And you, for you, KB, how much do you miss home when you're there? You miss pap and flesh, chisanyama. Yeah. And how was Saudi?
Saudi was very calm, like I said. It was very calm. A little bit more at home. Do I miss home? Not really. Well, you just miss your loved ones, you know. And I'm a soldier. If I'm at war, I'm at war. I'll see home when I come home.
Yeah. And it continues. You guys are going to UAE now, another adventure, and you must be looking forward to that one.
Yes, at least you're going to. And that's going to Dubai.
You're just looking forward to Dubai. Don't finish your money there with the shopping there.
No.
The malls are hectic there. And you, Kyle?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for this new chapter. You know, we can plan and think we know what's coming, but you don't. Yeah. So I'm excited for that. You know, the challenge is what makes us strive for more, if I can say it like that. So I'm happy. I'm good. Very good, very calm, very relaxed.
Guys, thank you very much. I think this was a fascinating discussion. People always see you from a distance there around Coach Pitso. They're always asking, what are they doing? You know, at least you have given us a feel of, what happens behind the scenes, because like we said during the discussions, football nowadays, you guys are as important as a coach now. Because pretty much Coach Pitso will struggle if you guys are not there, because you feed him with info. Even though he's the head, he takes the tough decisions, but you are there to help him along in terms of making those decisions. And I find this was a little bit, fruitful. Thank you very much. And also I want to thank Aus Muira Tlhagale for having given us this opportunity. I'm told you guys don't do interviews like this, so so this was a big one. And also to Coach Pitso for having allowed us into his space, and good luck in the UAE, and be careful of those malls. I can see KB is prepared to go there and spend the money there, you know. But anyway, thank you very much, and good luck for you guys the next chapter, as Coach Pitso always calls it a project. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for
having us. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.